USS Wabash was a steam frigate of the United States Navy built in 1856 at Philadelphia. Over the course of her many years of service, she hosted a number of famous individuals aboard. One was Midshipman George Dewey, who cruised aboard Wabash in 1858. Dewey would become famous at the Battle of Manila Bay, where he issued the order, "You may fire when ready, Gridley." After that victory in the Spanish-American War, he was eventually promoted to Admiral of the Navy. Dewey, in his autobiography, wrote about hosting the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire aboard in 1858. Sultan Abdulmajid seems to have genuinely been interested in the American frigate, but he may also have been trying to get the attention of the British by visiting an American ship. Still, Dewey was impressed about how the sailors and Marines of Wabash turned out the ship and dressed it with the flag of the Ottoman Empire in honor of the Sultan. Robert Smalls, an enslaved man who was a pilot of the Confederate steamer SS Planter in May of 1862, made a daring and incredibly brave bid for freedom as he took Planter alongside his crewmates out of Charleston Harbor under the guns of Fort Sumter and Moultrie in a bid for freedom. They reached the blockading fleet off of Charleston Harbor, and Smalls, his companions, and Planter were sent down to Port Royal. There, Smalls boarded USS Wabash, which was the flagship of Rear Admiral DuPont. Of course, Smalls would go on to serve both the U.S. Navy and U.S. Army during the Civil War, eventually becoming captain of SS Planter. After the war, he would serve in a variety of offices, but including as a congressman in the United States House of Representatives. In 1871, USS Wabash would see service again as flagship of the European station. In October 1872, she hosted the King of Portugal, Louis I, aboard. Perhaps the most notorious person ever to board USS Wabash was William Walker, an American who attempted to take over Central America to establish some sort of slave empire there. At one point, he declared himself president of Nicaragua. He was thwarted on multiple occasions. He was defeated by the Costa Rican army. He made it back to the U.S. He tried to get back to Central America again. He was arrested by the U.S. Navy and held aboard USS Wabash. He, of course, would try again, landing in Honduras, where he was arrested and then would be shot. USS Wabash would participate in three of the most significant U.S. Navy victories during the American Civil War: the battles of Hatteras Island, Port Royal, and Fort Fisher. After 1874, USS Wabash was a receiving ship at Boston, where she would serve for nearly 40 years as a training vessel, a floating barracks, and a place in which new sailors came into the fleet. In 1913, she was burned to recover the iron in her hull as scrap. Who do you think was the most famous person ever to step aboard USS Wabash? Was it one of the five I mentioned, or was it one of the admirals like Admiral DuPont or Admiral Dahlgren? Let me know in the comments.